This is the JoyNews channel. Thanks for staying with us. Just gone by, we're bringing you proceedings from Parliament where the House had to do a head count in terms of a vote for the 2021 budget statement because the Speaker had to take over from the First Deputy Speaker, Jose Wusu. But my colleague, Kwesi Parker Wilson, has all the details from Parliament for us. He joins us via Zoom. So, Parker, let's just walk through the processes that we've just witnessed on our screens a while ago. Okay, so it looks like we've just lost my colleague, Kwesi Parker Wilson, but he will join us shortly. As it stands now, the House stands adjourned till tomorrow. They are sitting again on Saturday for the very latest on this. There's still the 2021 budget statement that is under review in Parliament, and they've just voted on head count to, adopt it. That motion was moved on Tuesday by the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkrumah, and also the minority side. We had Dr. Kasiel Atuforcing also starting off the debate for the minority side. After that head count, that vote, the yes had 147 and the no's had 134, as announced by Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Babbing. And it had to come to that because there was some misunderstanding about the no's and how the ayes had it. Jose Wusu was in the seat earlier and pronounced that the ayes had it, but the minority raised concerns about it, and then it came to a head count, and all 275 parliamentarians were counted by voice and then also by head count, and the ayes in the end had 147 and the noes had 134. And Kwesi Parker Wilson now joins us via Zoom. So, Parker, we're itching to hear all the drama that unfolded earlier in Parliament to adopt the 2021 budget. Walk us through it. Hello, Parker. Hello, Parker.
Hello, Emma, can you hear me?
Well, super. We can hear you now. So walk us through the drama as it unfolded in Parliament.
All right. So just this morning, of course, we knew that the budget statement was going to be concluded or ended. But MFA, I'm going to walk you through that briefly, but the members of Parliament are exiting the chamber. Let me just get you a quick reaction from some of the members quickly. Slide Tete is the member of Parliament for English and from constituency. Slide, thank you. Was this the outcome you were expecting after all the drama?
Well, of course, it was obvious that the good people of Ghana need this all-important budget for government business to roll, and I think the minority knew, even before they challenged the decision of the Speaker, that obviously they were not going to get a vote. But I think what is important for us as a country, at this time of our development, we cannot afford to stagger government business. And for me, it's quite unfortunate on the part of minority to challenge the decision of the Speaker. Ultimately, the numbers confirm the decision of the Speaker, that the Speaker was right after all. So I think that the minority, it is not for opposing sake, that is why they are here. You cannot be opposing everything. If you listen to the debate, if you go to the numbers, if you look at performance, indeed we've performed better than the NDC administration in 8 years. And that goes to point to the fact that we are on the path of recovery, continuation, and ensure that we rebuild this economy for the betterment of our people.
But the accusation is that, Joe Wise at the time, the first deputy speaker who was in the speaker's chair, sought to have ruled in your favor when clearly he knew that the ICE didn't have it. When
How did they not have it? How did they not have it? How did they not have it? The vote vindicated him. How didn't he have it? If the noes had it, the vote should have vindicated the minority. But ultimately, the speaker was vindicated. Anybody who says that the ICE didn't have it, the vote shows that indeed we had it. That's a position. For me, is a speaker. You can interpret it differently. But of course, ultimately, when they challenge it, the vote show clearly that indeed the speaker was right.
I say thank you very much. Sylvester Tete is the MP for English and from. What about Dr. Efriye is the Environment, Science and Technology Minister. Sir, was this the outcome you were expecting?
Oh, yes. I had anticipated that. But except that the NDC has elected to be an obstructionist party.
An obstructionist party?
Yes. Instead of...
They have to run scrutiny.
Scrutiny does not mean that obstruct. When all the facts have been gathered and when all the policy variances have been have been put to the fore. And there's a sort of congress, because even listening to the national conversation, yes, some people have misgivings. But as for policy, you have to have options. And we think that that's the best policy options that we have that will underpin the appropriation that will come on. So today we're voting on the policy and then the budget therefrom. So next week that we will discuss, in fact,
the budget estimates.
Estimates. Is the estimates would give, so to speak, bite to what we are doing now. So I do not see, yes, it is a sort of procedural thing, but when you recall in the Ghanaian history, there is only one time that a budget has been thrown out. That was President Leman's time. So historically, what they sought to do was very, very political indeed. And it is nothing more than a political stance. It wasn't based on any principles, I guess.
No,
because we have a force majeure in the world, not only in Ghana. COVID is an economic force majeure. So the principles that we've initiated to tackle COVID, and even in the midst of the pandemic, to grow our economy, stabilize things, to grow our economy, it is okay. The three key tax regimes are indeed necessary. So I do not see how our friends have had their say, but they should have made things a bit smoother. This thing does not send good signals to Ghanaians.
But so judging from what happened today with all the drama and the resistance, the budget estimate, we are equally going to approve that. Yes. What is the NPP doing in order to ensure that they bring their colleagues along to, unanimously?
Well, it boils down to this about the electorate. That is why I say they brought us here. But that vote, the Ghanaians in their entirety were embarking on a sort of political experiment, in the sense that they want us to be at par so that we could collaborate, especially in these difficult times. In fact, indeed, the outcome that the Ghanaians are getting is very perverse. In medicine, when you say perverse outcomes, it's the very opposite of what we anticipated. They wanted us to collaborate so that we could do things to make the life of the average Ghanaian very good. But the way they are going about it, I'm afraid, is bad. You see, yes, in this budget, they could point out some areas where we could fine-tune. See, the budget is only a gross, even when we have the plans and during the implementation phase, and there's even mid-year review coming along, the opposition can make a lot of contribution, especially at the committee levels. I've been in committees several times. There have been several fine ideas which have come from opposing members, and we have incorporated them. So I do not see where there should be political grandstanding here. It is the wrong platform that they chose.
Thank you very much, sir. And another member of parliament is here. Let me just quickly. Let me get to Katie Hammond. I saw you in the chamber. You were a bit upset. Why were you upset?
Two things. One, I thought my colleagues on the other side were kind of misunderstanding what this whole thing is all about. You see, when these numbers came about, the 160, the 137, 138 thing came about, it's all over the place that Ghanaians voted the way they did so that we can work together and all of that. It isn't, Parliament wouldn't operate the same way we operated. I think the mantra is, it's not a business as usual and all that. I seriously, I thought that there's some sort of misapprehension about all of it, that they don't quite, they haven't come to grasp with what it's all about. Are we going to vote on everything in this house? I've been here for the past how many years now? I think 21 years or so. I'm seeing this for the first time.
But Mr. Hammond, you've got critical issues with them. They believe there are places you need to fight.
That is not the issue. That is not the issue. I mean, there's consensus. When you talk about consensus is not a split vote that we're going through every single day, every single minute. Is that what we're going to do? I mean, for the rest of our 4-year lives in this parliament. The other thing that was also getting to me was after the count. If you saw that I was up there, the reason was that the tellers, the clerk, and then they did the counting. I mean, we all knew that there were 3 people or so from the other side. There was one from our side who wasn't here. We eventually actually came. Now our number is 138. at least minus 1, you get 137. What was the reason why we were sitting all there for waiting for what? They couldn't put the numbers together. And what is that? You see, we should be careful about how we spend time.
They didn't have legitimate grounds to oppose the budget. With all the concerns.
You're talking about legitimate
introduction of
my friend, we'll talk about consensus. Consensus is not to vote on everything. I mean, so far, we voted on the speaker, we voted on the ministers, we voted on this, we voted on that, we're voting on this. I asked them a moment ago that what is that the new normal? You upping whatever it means, new normal. You're giving it a completely different dimension. Is it a new normal that this is what you and I have been here for as long as we've been here? This is what you call new normal. Vote, 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 vote. Yes, we've always had differences on one or two things. We sit down, compromise, we resolve, and then we move forward. Vote, 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 vote. What are we going to do in this house?
So going forward, what is the strategy you're going to adopt as majority?
Good afternoon.
Well, so that is Katie Hammond. They're not happy with the strategy of the NDC. Unfortunately, I don't see any member of the NDC around. Most of them left the chamber shortly after the speaker ruled in favor of the NPP. But Boshi Adam is the Obuasi East NP. Your quick thoughts on what happened in the chamber, Wale?
I think what happened in Parliament today is a testimony of what has gone on the past 4 years. NDC has never supported the budget of the Kufuor administration, and they are bent on going that trajectory, which will not help of us. Parliament needs to approve this one-year budget by 31st March in order for government to carry on with the programs and policies in the year. You know, we went into a very difficult time last year where global economies were contracted by 3.5%. When you come to ECOWAS sub-region, economies were to grow at negative 2.5. Ghana, among its peers in the ECOWAS sub-region, did well because we recorded a positive growth, a modest positive growth. And this attests to the prudent management of the economy. You know, we are projecting and envisaging that these taxes government is implementing will help us recover quickly. Not only health recovery, but economic recovery to get the country back on track. You know, we're growing at an average of 7.0 in the 3 years preceding COVID. Had it not been this economic resilience that we chalked in the 3 years before COVID, COVID would have thrown our economy back off gear. But we believe and have faith in this budget. We think the policies and the principles underpinning the budget as what is going to aid the country recover quickly and then move on as a country. So what happened today, for me, it's the opposition is not offering a better alternatives.
Thank you. Stay with me for a while. Now, the opposition is not better any alternative. Actor Forson is the ranking member on the Finance Committee. Your colleagues on the other side says that your action clearly is impeding government business. You sought to block the budget statement for the year 2021. Why?
First, I disagree. But most importantly, for me today, a major achievement has come out of the passage of the budget statement, the budget policy. I say this because we in the minority, we are successful today in the sense that...
You were successful today?
Yes, we were.
You lost by 3 votes?
No, it's not about just winning or losing.
Okay.
It's about what you get out.
Right.
Yes, the Ministry of Finance, led by the acting minister, have indeed accepted that they are going to amend the fiscal framework. Our point has always been that we've had concerns with how the fiscal framework has been presented. We think it has been distorted. We think the right impressions are not created. We think we have a number of expenditures that are missing from the framework. And so if you had to listen to me from the beginning, we've made the point that the deficit as reported in the budget statement is understated. The deficit of 11.7% is not a true situation. If you are to add the financial sector 13.8, it's not the true situation. In fact, the situation is 15.3% of GDP on cash basis, and if you are to add the rest, it's 17.5% of GDP. Gladly, the minister responsible for finance, the Honorable Chairman Sabunso, has admitted and said to us that he's going to amend that. That is a major victory, not only to minority, but to the
knowing very well that he said he was going to amend the concerns or address the concerns you've raised. Why were your side seeking to blockade by demanding for headcount where you know that?
You see, the truth is, the fiscal policies are one. And remember, the fiscal policies includes the revenue measures, of which we've said that we do not agree to some of them. So putting it to vote is important, sending a signal that that is going to be done. But you see, this is an important vote for one reason. Important reason, a vote in the sense that this will form the basis of us accepting or not accepting most of the policies in the budget statement. So now that it is clear, the majority members of the House has accepted some policies, then going into the appropriations, then you'll be guided by the sense of the House and then work accordingly. So I think it's an important vote, and it's important that it happened this way.
Is it the new normal that now the majority and minority, especially from your side, will always demand for a vote in terms of taking a major decision on behalf of the country?
Yes and a no. Yes and a no. Yes, in the sense that we should be prepared that going forward, we, the members of the minority, will react when we feel that things are not right. And we will not just react by just talking. We will vote accordingly to reflect our sentiment. And that is exactly what we are doing.
See more voting going on.
Don't be surprised that we vote on every single thing going forward.
Every single thing going forward.
Don't be surprised.
Everyone is going to, you knew very well that we are currently in the COVID pandemic and we needed to approve the budget in order for government to run.
I said every single thing, don't be surprised, in the sense that if government fails to convince us that they are doing it in the interest of the nation, we will vote against it.
Don't say to those who say that the minority perhaps seems to be a nation-wide.
So can you also confirm to us that as minority, we should just go and sleep and not to ask questions? And it's important for this administration to recognize that we are in not just as minority, but we are in as a major stakeholder of governance. And so therefore, when we demand certain information, those information should be forthcoming. If they fail to bring those information to us, we also exercise the right to respond appropriately. And we will respond if we strongly believe that those things that they are hiding from us, those information that they are seeking to not to give it to us, will not be in the interest of the country.
Next week, just estimates. Next week, we are told. Are we still going to see the drama and everything?
That is why I've said that we are going to evaluate, estimate by estimate. We are going to exercise the authority to approve the budget, the oversight responsibility. Remember, Parliament is the one that has the authority of the purse. It is only us that can appropriate resources to the executive. And so if you think, for any reason, that the resources we are going to give to a state agency to perform a particular function is not going to be in the interest of the nation, we will object to it.
Let me drift a little bit. Now we are told that Mr. Kofi Amwabing and Dr. Komna Dufour have petitioned the House to investigate the evocation of their license. I saw that captured in the business statement for next week, and it will be tabled on Monday. Let me get your thought on that.
What I can tell you for a fact is that the petition has come to us. We are hoping that the Speaker will refer this into a committee to investigate that. I do not know the thinking of the Speaker. I don't know whether the Speaker is going to refer to us as members of the Finance Committee to deliberate on it, or whether the Speaker is going to set up an ad hoc committee to deliberate on the matter. So let's first of all wait on the Speaker to refer this to our appropriate committee of Parliament to deliberate on it, so that we can then look at the issues concerned and address it.
We'll have more discussion on Top Story later this evening on Joy 99.7 FM. So that's the ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kesela Toforsen. And MFI, it is instructive to note that going forward, if they feel that they have to object to any policy decision by the government going forward, definitely there will demand a vote. And so this is something we need to we need to expect going forward here in Parliament. But just as you asked as what happened and how did we get here, let me just take a few minutes to run you through MFR. Now, this morning, the two leaders of the House, NPP and NDC, were to conclude the debate on the budget statement, so they made their own submission. Haruna Adrisu made a strong case against some of the new taxes that government has introduced. Again, on the majority side, it was Afenyo Makin, the deputy majority leader, who held the fort for his boss, Osei-Chairman Sabonsi, because we were told that because Osei-Chairman Sabonsi presented the budget, he wouldn't be in the capacity to defend the budget that he presented to the House. So it was important that the deputy majority leader hold the fort for him. So he also made a strong case why government has to introduce the new taxes and why the NDC must support the cause. After the debate, the first deputy speaker, who at the time was sitting in the speaker's chair, Jose Wusu, put the question whether they need to adopt the motion. The ayes were louder, the no's were equally louder, but the NDC says it was obvious that the no's were louder than the ayes, and yet the first deputy speaker, Jose Wusu, ruled in favor of the NPP. Deputy minority leader James Kluch-Abeji rose and challenged the ruling of the speaker. In fact, shortly after he ruled, the NDC side started chanting and banging their desk. Let's vote. We want to vote. We want to vote. So Abeji made the intervention, and just as Abeji and the first deputy speaker, Jose Wusu, were going ahead with what to do next, then the speaker walks in, Alban Babin, assumes his seat, and gets a proper briefing of what had happened. After listening to the two sides, he granted the request of the minority for a head count. The rules were simple. All the members of Parliament should resume their seat. If your name is mentioned, you stand to be counted, or you stand to be marked as present in the House. The counting was underway. Of course, some of the NDC MPs were not available. Others walked in at a point that the counting was underway. They were included into the whole exercise. And shortly after that, it emerged that the NPP had 137 members in the House as against 134 members of the NDC. And so the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, ruled that the ayes have it, and by extension, the budget statement has been approved today. And the majority side clearly is unhappy with the actions of the NDC, which sought to block the approval of the budget. Now, the new job in South Member of Parliament is, let me get one quick reaction. Michael Oshibefi, and then we wrap it or make it a day today. He said, thank you very much. You were in the chamber. Yeah. What do you make of the drama and the conduct of the NDC, your colleagues on the other side?
For me, it's very disappointing in the sense that I was looking at this in a national perspective. That we were working together to be able to build a nation together. And, the budget is not a budget for MPP. It is a budget for Ghana. And the kind of response that the NDC came with today, they didn't augur well for national building or national unity or national cohesion, because I believe that we have to work together. There may be issues, which can be tried. So you admit that issue? That notwithstanding, we have to still move the country forward. There are issues. That is something that nobody can dispute. And we believe that these things can be sorted out at the committee level. We're now going to discuss the estimates. These are the, and so I believe that they shouldn't have gone through that tandem. It is not too good for national building. It is, to the outside world, this is not good. I'm telling you.
Are you therefore suggesting that when the NDC identify errors and anomalies within any policy statement, it could be a budget or any other thing, they shouldn't raise concerns about it, they shouldn't oppose it?
They raise concerns, but do you know the repercussion? The repercussion is that if this budget was rejected, right, it would have been something else. The assumption is that at least by the end of the year, if we're not able to come up with a new budget, for it to be accepted by Parliament, it means that from 1st April, the nation cannot work. In other words, nothing can happen in the country. Government workers cannot be paid. Everything cannot be run well. Parliament cannot even run as it used to run. You see, these are the things that we are talking about. We are talking about issues like that need to be solved in a way that we'll all sit down and come out with solutions. And there are issues. Every budget will have an issue, and we have to sit down and trash those issues out. And things can be rejected at the committee level. We can take them out, but the budget must be accepted so that we can move forward. Because I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about, and so they shouldn't have gone on that direction. And to me, it is very disappointing, and it's a shame. I'm telling you.
Michael Achibefi, thank you very much. He's the Member of Parliament for New Jabin South constituency. So, MFA, that's it for now. The members of the House have left the chamber. They've gone to Job 600 with their offices because Parliament has adjourned sitting to tomorrow 10 a.m. And this is basically because they have to come back and continue with the estimate, which we are told that has been laid before the House. So, going forward, Parliament will have an extended sitting from now to next week till the budget estimate, including everything associated with the budget, is improved so that government can have the power and the clout to allocate monies to the various ministries and statements.
Quick clarity, Parker, good job there. Just before you go, a quick clarity on what exactly happened today, because the confusion is as to whether the budget statement itself, the entire 2021 budget statement itself had been approved today, or is just the financial statement or the economic policy document that has been accepted after that head count by MPs.
So it is the economic policy document that has been accepted, approved in this House. So everything that is contained in it has been approved, giving government the authority to now commit to the promises and the things they've outlined in the budget. Now, there's a budget estimate. That is the allocation, the money that will now be used to execute the things contained in the budget statement. And that is what the House is going to do it next week. So whatever it is that government is saying that they're going to do, introduction of new taxes, the construction of the 80 additional hospitals, plus the 7 regional hospitals, including the one for Western region, amongst others, has been approved that they can now go ahead to do them. But again, we need funds, we need monies for that. How do we get the money? The money will now be approved next week when the report is before the House, so that we'll know how much is being earmarked for each project which is contained in the budget statement. And that is what the minority leader this morning talked about, the Abatampa project. You're talking about a 3-year project. The question he's asking is, how much are we spending in the year 2021? That is a question he wants government to answer. So that is the clarity, if you ask me, MFA.
Okay, so thank you very much, Kwesi Parker-Wilson. And so tomorrow, Parliament will resume work. And what exactly will they start with? Because we know the debate has ended. The financial document has been approved. What then happens starting from tomorrow?
Well, so they have other statements to go through, individual members of Parliament. I have other statements to go through, and we are told that the budget estimates, the report has already been laid. So we are hoping, we don't have the order paper for tomorrow, but it's expected that tomorrow, at least, it will be referred to the various committees for them to quickly start the discussion and the debate on the estimate.
I'll leave it here for now. That's my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, our parliamentary correspondent. They're bringing us all the proceedings. You definitely will not miss anything with Parker-Wilson. So that's what has happened so far today in Parliament. After all the drama, it boiled down to 137 for the majority and 134 for the minority after that head count. And so Parliament has approved the economic policy document for 2021. From next week, they will start the issues about appropriation at the committee level. This is the Joy News channel. We're back shortly with a pulse. Please stay. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. Of course, you can join us via WhatsApp and also myjoyonline.com. You can watch us live as well. And also on all our social media platforms, you can leave your comments there as well. And after counting in Parliament, very soon as the people, we will be counted as well. And it won't just be a head count in Parliament, it will be a head count nationally. I'm talking about the 2021 National Census. We'll be talking about it shortly, but it's time for Arrive Alive. And 517 people have died from road accidents between January and February 2021. This is a significant increase in the 393 cases recorded in the same period last year. That's 124 more deaths were recorded this year compared to last year, the same period. Ghana loses an average of 310 children to road traffic accidents. In economic terms, it constitutes 1.6% of our GDP, which translates to about $800 million. Sadly, all these accidents happen on the country's good roads, which are unfortunately single carriage lanes. About $200 million out of the $800 million can significantly improve the road network and thereby reducing carnage drastically. So what is stopping state actors to take action? Let me share with you some findings from the Ghana Police Service on our roads in terms of the figures as we have it. So our report, January to February 2021, 517 persons were killed just between January and February 2021. That's how many lives we've lost, 517. That's it. And then also, in terms of our figures, the regional figures, look at it. The Ashanti region is topping with 108. And then also we have the Eastern region with 91 and the Greater Accra 89. That's how it looks like. And that's the figures when it comes to the regional breakdown. And also 2,560 cases have been reported. That's the reported figures that we have, over 2,000. And then we have commercial cases. We have 1,581. And these are figures just for January and February. We don't even have the March figures just yet. These are the figures that have been reported so far. Commercial cases, 1,581. Then also motorcycles involved. They are not left out. 974 motorcycles involved in the accident reports that we have for January to February. Then for pedestrians knocked down, we have 2,766. 2,766 pedestrians alone have been knocked down between the period of January and February. These are the accidents reports we have as a country. And then also our statistics over the years from 2015 all the way to 2020. So between 2015 and 2020, these are the figures as it looked like between that same period. That's how it looks like. And then 2021 major road accidents so far. Buipe Tamale accident, we've had it. Truck runs over student in Mankasim. Achim Asafo accident. Then the Accra Tema motorway accident, Bolga Navrungo accident, and the Chichire accident. That's the Ghana Police Service data that we have. The 2021 major accidents we've recorded so far: Buipe to Chichire, Bolga, Accra Tema motorway, Achim Asafo, and then a truck running over a student in Mankasim. Unfortunately, these are the figures that we have. Unfortunately, these are the figures. That's how it looks like January to February 2021 major road accidents. It's a part of our Arrive Alive campaign. We need to take a look at it. Road accidents, very major. One of the key issues that we need to pay attention to as a country. We've lost too many, 517 deaths recorded between January and February alone. I bet you think it's disturbing. I think so too. And that's part of our Arrive Alive campaign. We'll have a lot more talk on it shortly as part of our Arrive Alive campaign together with the National Road Safety Authority, Logistics Movers and Toyota Ghana Limited, and of course in collaboration with JoyNews as well. I'll talk more about it shortly, but I was telling you about the headcount in Parliament earlier as you witnessed it. But very soon you will be counted as well because we are getting ready for the 2021 census. And today the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, launched the 100-day countdown, and it's starting today. Is the population and housing census. You need to get ready for it. And George Emmanuel Osei is head of census, and he joins us on the phone. I bet you'll be wondering what exactly will be happening, joining him via Zoom. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Emmanuel Osei. We're grateful for your time. A lot of questions I have when it comes to population and housing census, but I hope you would want to tell us a bit about today's 100-day countdown and the launch by the Vice President. How did it go, you'd say?
Thank you very much, and we're so grateful for this opportunity to let the whole country know about what we did today. Though for the census, we have what we call the census night, and that becomes a reference period for which we refer the enumeration processes through. The questions that we ask, that becomes our reference point for which we ask the questions. So we needed to draw the attention of the general public to this very important day, today being 100 days to the census night. And the census night, as was declared by His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, 27th of June 2021, which is a Sunday, will become our census night date. And so that will be, as I said earlier on, that will be the reference point for which we're going to enumerate our population and then ask questions with reference to the questions that we're going to ask.
Okay, so then the 100-day countdown to census night is on. It means that the clock starts ticking from today. What do we need to know? Why do we have to get counted again in 2021? Why exactly has it become necessary?
I think the main issue is that as we are human and as time goes on and as time changes, our characteristics also changes. Because I believe that if you look at 10 years back, you'll find yourself not to be as you are today. So certain changes have taken place, and the population have also changed due to certain issues that we'll have to look at and then begin to know the trend that is how it is going, and also the characteristics of the population that has evolved since the last count from 2010 up till now. So that is going to give us the characteristics of the population as we have for the 2021 round of censuses, which Ghana, the 2020 round of censuses, which Ghana is conducting its population and housing census this year.
Okay, so prior to the registration last year, there was a lot of talk as to why a census was not conducted before the registration was conducted. I'm sure you heard that argument as well. What really was the situation? Was it supposed to have been done last year? And why was it not done last year and it's been done this year?
Yes, the last census that we did was in 2010. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the 10-year period, then we should have had it in 2020. We made our preparations, government came in, but unfortunately, we all know of the pandemic that came up, the COVID-19 pandemic, and therefore, this threw away our programs and all that we had planned to do. And therefore, we needed to reschedule, and the National Steering Committee, in consultation with the JSS, have come out with this date, and then the government have also approved of it, and therefore, that is what. So the COVID that actually gave us that change for the program to come on this year.
Well, the blames that COVID gets. But what exactly then will be happening going forward since we have the launch officially done today? So going forward, what are we to expect as we count down to Census night?
Yes, so from hence, we're going to see a lot of press releases coming up, and then also a lot of publicity engagement with the general public to make sure that people understand what we want to do, and then also get the support of the general public to get themselves involved in the census process, because it is going to help us to know who we are, where we are, and where we have evolved from the 2010 census till now, what changes have taken place in the Ghanaian community, and therefore what plans does government have to put in development programs and projects for the benefit of the whole society.
Okay, so am I to expect people coming round? Am I to expect anybody at my door? What exactly am I supposed to expect as we go along the line?
From the 13th of June, where we're going to start the main enumeration period, which will be the listing of structures. We'll be going to list structures from hence. So you see people in their jacket, in their census jacket, with their ID cards, coming to write on our structures, and this is going to help us to also know the number of houses within the Ghanaian system. And then from the 28th of June, then they will actually start the enumeration process, where they will begin to ask you questions about the household that you belong to, and then members of the household, and then we begin to enumerate the population from hence.
And these persons, in terms of the plans that we have, would you say that everything is in place? Because you were supposed to have it last year, it didn't happen. And so we can be assured that all plans are far advanced when it comes to this.
Yes, I would say that plans are far advanced, as was stated by the Vice President and then also by my Chief Executive, that plans are far advanced to actually conduct the census. So we are just praying with Ghanaians to receive our enumerators into their homes, and then make sure that we get the maximum support so that we can get credible data to be able to come out with better policies, government to be able to come out with better policies to be able to move the country forward.
Okay, so before I ask you about what exactly in terms of data you are looking at, it's a good time to also bring in the general public, because a lot of people are pretty, excited about this issue, and they have a lot of concerns as well. So I'm all about the audience. So the phone lines are activated. It's 030-221-1691 or 92. You can also call in quickly and then ask Mr. George Emmanuel Osei your own questions as well. But in terms of collection of data, Mr. Osei, what exactly am I to expect in terms of the questions that your enumerators will be asking me?
So we're going to ask questions about demographics, that is about your age, the sex, the household that you have, the relationship to the head of household, and then we also talk about a little bit about migration. We want to ask you about questions on where you have lived within the past 5 years or so. If there has been movement, then you will tell us. And then again, we'll also ask about literacy. Okay. And then education. So questions will be asked about the level of whether you can read or write, and then whether you've been to school, if you've ever attended school or not. So based upon that, then questions will be asked, further questions will be asked. Then again, we'll also look at economic activity, where we'll be asking you about the work that you do, that is the occupation, and then also the industry in which that occupation is found. Okay. And then we'll go further to ask of the sector of employment, whether you are into the public or this thing, and then also your status of employment, whether you are an employee or you are whether you are an employee or you are an employed person.
Okay. Well,
and then after that, we also have questions on ICT. We're going to ask whether you have a phone, you have access to internet, and all those questions. So that will also come. We'll also talk about fertility, where we'll ask women 12 years and older about their fertility, their issues. And then we'll also talk about mortality issues.
I'm sure I would interrogate you more. I'll ask more questions on the fertility issues, why you need to know whether a woman is fertile or not, and why you're not asking a man about their fertility issues. But I would ask you more about that. But sorry to ambush you. We have some callers joining us, and please, some housekeeping. Once you join us, you go straight to the point with your quick question. Then we can take as many callers as possible. Then we can wrap up with Mr. Emmanuel. So Bismarck from Harvey, welcome, Bismarck.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Wezo, your question, please.
All right. My only question is, when will the training of enumerators take place? Specifically that of the IT officials. If it has taken place, have they already taken everybody? Or it will be done in batches.
Okay, Bismarck, that's straight to the point. Thank you very much. Training of enumerators will take it shortly. Suleimana from Tamale, welcome, Suleimana.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the Tamale Metro GSDD chairman.
Super.
Yeah, I want to know how many persons with disabilities are taking part in the enumerators.
Good. Thank you very much, Suleimana, for your question. We have another call. I want to take a few calls, then Mr. Osei can, respond to them. But whilst we wait, Mr. Osei, so there's a question about training of enumerators. Has that been done? You talked about plans being far advanced. Have you done that already?
No, we haven't done that. We have levels of training. So we have done what we have the masters, like the level at which we train our master trainers. Then we also have the level at which we train our national trainers. We have regional trainers, and then from there we'll go to the training of our enumerators, and then the supervisors who will actually go to the field to actually collect the data on behalf of the Ghana Statistical Service. So that will be done some weeks prior to the listing, the 13th June that I did say. So for now, we are doing the national level of training, where we are training our national trainers who will go to train about 5,000 plus regional trainers, who will then go down to go and train the enumerators in about 2,000 classrooms, where we're going to deploy about 70,000 people to the field, and therefore we're going to train more than the 70,000 people. Then from there, we will then get about 70,000 to go to the field to collect the data for us. So the enumerators will come on in May. That is where the training of the enumerators will come on.
So I'll plead with you to give me very straightforward answers, Mr. Osei. I'll plead with you to give me very straightforward answers so we can take as many questions as possible. Then you can take responses as well. So on the issues about trainers, Ebenezer from Nkoko is asking whether teachers will be recruited as well. But you can keep that in mind. Kosame from Nima is joining us. Hello, Kosame.
Hello, my sister. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Kosame. Thanks for asking your question.
Thank you very much. My question is, I want how much are we spending on this, and it wouldn't it have been cost effective when we use like the youth communities in our communities, those who are with the people, to help us do this thing well? That's my question.
Thank you very much, Kosame. Interesting question. I've just noted cost here as well. But there's a question, Mr. Osei, also about how many persons with disability are you hoping to recruit as well to be part of it? And then there was a question whether you're going to take teachers on as enumerators.
There's a number of persons with disability to take on. I mean, the bureau where we are asking people to go and register online is open. So it's open to all Ghanaians. Each and every person is eligible. If you have the necessary qualification, you are eligible to vote, to go and register online, so that you will be able to be shortlisted when we find out that you qualify, you've given us all the needed documentation, that you qualify to come up. So we've actually not come out with a specific number of persons with disability. So any person with disability who qualifies with a minimum qualification of SSCE should be able to go online and then register. And then henceforth we'll do the selection, and then we'll be able to know who will go to the field after the training.
And how many days will the enumeration take?
The enumeration period itself, we have about 7 days for the listing period, and then also 14 days for the enumeration proper. So the enumeration proper will be 14 days. But like I told you, the listing of structures will precede the enumeration for about 7 days.
Okay, great. And then the big question about the cost, I had also written it down, and we are interested. How much is it going to cost us as a nation? And Kosame is asking whether we couldn't have used our unit committees to get this information that you're looking for. So first, the issue about cost.
Yes, the issue about cost is going to cost us about 577 million Ghana cedis, and this will come. Yes, it's going to cost us 577 million Ghana cedis. That is the total budget for the 2021 population and housing census, and this will take care of our the tablets and the payment of enumerators and everything that we are buying or we are engaging with regarding the 2021 census. And with regard to why wouldn't it be better if we use our unit committee members? Yes, if they qualify, then you will be able to go online, register, and then you will be selected.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions via WhatsApp on whether the portal is still open, because some of them are having difficulty signing up to the portal. What exactly is the status?
Yes, the portal is still open, so people can go online and then also register with the service.
Okay.
And then we are also saying that those who have already registered should go in and then update their profile so that we can know that you are actually ready with us, you are ready to go with us for the next period, that the line of action that we want to undertake.
Okay, Mr. Emmanuel Osei, we'll leave it here for now. In the coming days, expect more questions from us. And thank you very much. George Emmanuel Osei is the head of census at the Ghana Statistical Service, and we're getting ready for the 2021 census. What's supposed to happen last year in 2020 before the registration, but that did not happen, and he blames COVID for that. And we're going to spend 577 million Ghana cedis for that. And in the coming days, more questions will be asked about that. So that's the 2021 census, and 100 days to census night has been launched today by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And this is the pulse here on the JoyNews channel. And before we talked about census, I was telling you about our Arrive Alive campaign and the road accidents, the number of it that we've recorded. 517 persons we've lost just between January and February 2021. How many more lives do we want to lose before we pay attention to our nature and our behavior on our roads? Road accidents claiming more lives than we've seen with COVID, for instance. So we need to pay attention to it. And we've been joined on the phone by Cyril Crabb, President of Accident Victim Support, and he's joining us shortly in the studio shortly. But Mr. Adonting is head of planning, National Road Safety Authority, is also joining us via phone. But before then, let's listen to the ranking member on the Transport Committee in Parliament, Governor Kwame Agboja, who says the answer does not lie with dualizing our roads.
So wait, we do have some of the horrific accidents on Accra Temamoto, which is a dual carry. So it is not entirely correct to say that once the roads are are good, people will do the right thing. I mean, if you are even driving on the if you are driving on the Accra motorway, you will notice trucks who are driving sometimes 40 kilometers per hour are in the inner lane, and then maybe somebody drives all the way feeling, oh, it is a clear road, and then just realize that the speed of the vehicle ahead of you is much slower than yours. So yes, it is good that we should improve the conditions of our road, but that would not solve the problem if driver error is not addressed, especially in the era where we have problems with National Road Safety Authority not having the necessary resources to carry out education, NCCD, checking drivers and other things. We will not be able to address this thing even if we were to improve the conditions of the on the road. If you check the budget of the National Road Safety Authority, and I was arguing this on the floor of Parliament, why we are going to put more taxes on petrol, and we are not going to use the money to improve the road condition and road safety. I made this point 3 days ago, and I even suggested that 20 pesos that they want to add to the part of the fuel cost, 5 pesos should go to National Road Safety Authority, because we made them authority without giving them the necessary tools to be able to carry out the education and other things. So I think the ball is in the court of government. Even if it's a driver error, it's the job of the government to make the necessary laws to make sure all drivers, especially commercial drivers, do the right thing on the road. Because if you take money off drivers, I think it's just fair that they must be able to, because drivers are the ones buying the fuel. If you take money off them, I think put some of that money into something to improve their lot. And I feel if we can put, and I propose, in order about 30% is going to be taken. My brother, we are struggling to find money to build roads in this country. That is to improve the physical condition of the road. That's the road fund generated about 1.8 billion last year. We probably need about 5 billion to be able to do a good job on our road. So if you're going to add money, they take money off drivers. I thought if maybe by 10% to improve the national road safety, the road fund, so that they can build more roads, and also give 5% to the National Road Safety Authority to be able to carry out their mandate. Like you said, that you are taking all that money to do sanitation, where we know management and monitoring of sanitation contracts in this country has always been a problem. Who is going to be able to monitor and find out how many markets have been fumigated? I have big problem with this fumigation that have been carried out already, because nobody monitored it, whether they are actually doing whatever is supposed to be done. So I think they are going to create a lot of money and create a lot more corruption in terms of all these sanitation things in the country. And I can support that. And I said I will vote against that. I'll vote against today, tomorrow, and all the time, because it's not a solution. It is not a solution. There are more ways of targeting people who litter the streets in every country. Do that. Don't just do the easy one by taxing everybody. Take the money from this one and go and waste it. I can support it.
Well, so that's the ranking member on the Transport Committee in Parliament, governs Kwame Agboja there. There are lots who say that dualizing the roads will be the way to go, but he disagrees. And before I come into the studio, he's been also telling me about his views on that. But 7 out of 8 corpses from the Solar Tuna Kalba accident involving a Sprinter bus have been identified and handed over to family members for burial. On the phone is Isaac Nonya, our correspondent. He joins us on the phone. Isaac, so you've been reporting on this rather sad situation all day. What exactly is the situation now? What would you say is the latest?
Yes, MFA, thank you. The latest is that 15 of those who were on a mission at the Solar District Hospital have been referred to the One Regional Hospital, and we are told by the doctor in charge, Dr. Roger, that they were in a stable condition, but they needed some tertiary medical attention. That's why they were referred to WA, because many of them come from WA. Or apart from the other one person who is there was another nursing mother of a kid who sustained some minor injury on the shoulder, but nothing happened to a little boy that she was carrying. There were 8 other corpses that were transferred to WA Regional Hospital mortuary. As we speak, the police has confirmed that 7 of 5 corpses have been identified, leaving 1 yet to be identified. The police have actually, the dust on the cause of the accident has settled, because the police per the interaction with the interrogation with the driver today, has concluded that the cause of the accident is a result of the chop box that dropped from the other vehicle that overtook the first one, resulting in the bursting of the tire and a somersaulting into the bush, killing the 6 others on the spot. The police were able to trace pieces of the chop box that broke, that fell down and caused the accident. I will speak. The Southern Regional Police Command is having a possession of the said chop box, the pieces, the broken parts of it. The police also confirmed the number of passengers who were on board the said vehicle. They said the bus is a 23-seater bus, rightly so, and that there were 23 people inside the bus, including the driver and the mate. In this case, let's take the 8 people who died and then 15 others. So officially, this was coming from the police. So 15 transferred to one regional hospital, then 8 with 7 identified, leaving 1 corpse at the one regional mortuary.
Colleague Isaac Nonya, there you can see the disturbing pictures on our screens there, giving us the very latest on that particular accident that occurred early today. But let's come into the studio, and the Reverend Cyril Crab is president of the Accident Support, Victim Support, and of course Mr. Adonting is also head of planning, National Road Safety Authority, is also joining us via Zoom. Thank you very much, Mr. Adonting, for your time here on the polls. So this situation doesn't seem to go away until we talk about it. At some point, people say that maybe more talk and nothing really is happening. But for me today, very disturbing, 517, looking at the figures just for January and February. How come? You'd have to unmute, Mr. Adonting.
Can you hear me?
It's much better now. I can. Thank you very much. So I'm asking about the figures.
Afternoon. Very good afternoon, my dear, and good afternoon to all. I think that you have clearly provided the statistics the way it is. Thanks to your reporters also for the crashes that are happening, especially the one that happened just yesterday and today. We are worried by the situation. As you rightly said, 517 deaths, January and February alone. We have not even gotten to the end of the quarter. Usually these figures are recorded over a quarter or a quarter and beyond. Now we're recording this figure in just 2 months. And it is very, very worrying, I must say, especially when the National Road Safety Authority and together with the multimedia and 21 other media partners are rolling out Arrive Alive, speaking to the issue all the time, engaging drivers, engaging transport operators, and engaging the general public on this issue of being responsible when we are in traffic. I think that over the past number of months now, since we started the Arrive Alive, we have consistently and comprehensively delivered road safety messages across the country, thanks to the media, multimedia in particular. And so when these problems are coming again, then indeed we must be worried. And we are worried, my good friend, we are worried.
But what could account for this? Because you said that previously we recorded the same figures, at least for the quarter. But this one is just for January and February. What are your figures telling you? What exactly could be accounting for this when it's coming at a time where we are really louder on issues about road safety?
Yeah, I think that February in particular happened to be one of the deadliest months, because if you look at the statistics in the past, once we come out of December and come out of the new year, then things start stabilizing. Stabilizing means that now those who are in business, those who travel a lot, wherever they went to, people are coming back to their bases to settle. You find a lot of travels across the country and generally on all the road networks. But this year in particular, we recorded a very high figure in fatalities at the end of the year, 2020, 2,589. And whilst we were discussing how to manage these particular figures, then January and February also hit us with these high numbers. And you have just mentioned some of the crashes that happened at various locations. Now, we have done some preliminary investigations. Others, we are ongoing. But you could see that the problems are the same problems that we talk about all the time. It's about the speeding, it's about the wrongful overtaking. That is where we're getting the head-on collisions. And then it's about fatigue, drivers driving tired behind steering wheels and they're sleeping. I think these are the key issues that we've been hammering on all the time. What I can say is that I think people are becoming, drivers in particular, are becoming so recalcitrant. They are not ready to accept the message and take the responsibility and be disciplined. And so we, as the authority, in recent times, if you remember, on the 3rd of March, we issued a directive, 5 directives, and the directives are to address the gaps that we have identified. We are saying that if you're driving for a very long distance, 500 kilometers and above, or a journey of 8 hours, let us use 2 drivers. How many of these transport operators have complied with this? 2 drivers, one will drive for up to the middle of the journey, and the other will continue. Indeed, we have come out with all these things because they are the tools that can help us address the problems. Now, I know that we are also talking critically about what the road itself can do to help the human element that we are now providing. And we are talking about dualization. We are not saying that dualization will solve it all. But dualization is one of the measures that is globally accepted to deal with crashes related to head-ons. Head-ons are said that one vehicle coming from one approach, another from another approach, would have to hit each other. And these are metals. And if you look at the speeds that they're traveling with all the time, it always comes with very devastating, end results. So we are saying that much as we are working on the human beings, we are educating, sensitizing, and creating that awareness. As we move forward as a nation, it is important that we begin to also put in place all these other mechanisms that will help the process. Until we do that, we will continue to talk and talk. But if the other physical complementary measures do not come, it will mean that we will keep talking and it keeps happening. We are asking the system, the authorities, we are asking government, and we are happy to note from the budget read by government the last time at Parliament, it is now stating clearly government's intent to dualize most of the highways that we have been advocating for. We are indeed happy to hear that Accra-Kumasi in particular will become an express road. That is fantastic. We are also happy to hear that Tema to Aflao and Tema to Akosombo, and then coming down all the way from Accra to Takoradi are all going to be looked at in terms of expansion and dualization. Expressways.
The issue about dualization, but Mr. Adontin, the issue about dualization is always of concern to some others because the figures and the accidents that we're seeing, most of them are occurring on the good roads. So really, dualization, is that the solution to everything? Hello, Mr. Adontin. Okay, it appears that I've just lost Mr. Adontin there.
Yes, I agree with you. If you can.
Yes, I can.
What we're talking about, the dualization, is to address head-on collisions. In fact, I think people must get this message right.
No? Did we just lose Mr. Adontin again? Okay, so I think that we'll just...
I'm not saying overall, dualization will end the whole problem. Dualization will take off the aspects that requires vehicles not to have a head-on collision, and I think we must emphasize on.
Okay.
Of the crashes that we are seeing recording are head-ons. And head-ons take a huge number of lives. And so we are advocating for dualization to end the head-on collisions in particular. That is what we are talking about. I believe you understand me.
Yes, I do.
So the discussion on dualization is to eliminate completely, because if you look at what we did at Nsawam bypass, and then we also did that in Koko bypass, and even the Accra-Tema motorway, hardly would you hear any head-on collision, which means that if we are able to do the dualization, that component of the crashes that relates to head-on collisions, one vehicle and the other hitting each other head-on, will be out of the equation. That is what we're talking about.
Okay.
But the others involving the human error, the driver discipline and indiscipline, we are addressing that through the Arrive Alive campaign that we are rolling out now. It is about human beings or drivers changing their attitude, and they must change their attitude.
Yeah.
We have brought all these things to bear to them. We have engaged them. And so their refusal to accept the challenge and do what is right is what is causing us now. Drivers must accept the challenge. They must be disciplined.
Okay.
They must be disciplined. And I think that if we apply all these educational programs and they are not responding to, then our enforcement agencies must be up and doing.
Okay.
I think we must employ the strictest of enforcement to deal with the recalcitrant drivers, those who will refuse to apply their knowledge and their wisdom. They must be addressed and they must be dealt with by the police.
We're grateful. Mr. David Adonting is Director of Planning at the National Road Safety Authority. And of course, they are our key partners in the National Road Safety Arrive Alive campaign, together with the Logistics Movers and Toyota Ghana. And in the studio with me is Reverend Cyril Crab as well. He speaks for the survivors of road accidents. And he is very passionate about this issue. And thankfully, I can't say that I have any experience when it comes to road accidents, because at least, but you can't be safe. You can't say that you are careful until the other driver or the pedestrian or whoever other road users are also careful. Sure. Because you can be careful, but a careless driver can run into you and it will lead to your death or, you know, disability. So there are two key issues that have come up: enforcement. And then also dualization of roads. And when we heard Governor Agboja speaking about it, I could see that you were passionate about it. But briefly, I want you to tell us about your experience with road accidents.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Joy Pulse, for the opportunity. In fact, I have been looking for this opportunity from January. You don't know how I have prayed to be here. You see, we are refusing to see what is at hand. You understand me? I personally have been a victim. I came out, but mine was more of a calling. Okay. You know, God was asking me, because the tears and the pain, the affliction, the sufferings of victims, survivors, have reached him. So I have to come. I've run away until 2009, 16 September. I myself was involved in 4 cars. I came out of the car. And before I gained consciousness, I was at the Kolibu OPD, and then that was what happened. I was going even to help them, and they told me, look, you are even in a crash, you are a victim, I have blood all over, and so I have to go back and relax.
Serve a living God.
It's serve a living God. I'm a pastor, yes, but I think that a little has been done, you know, with regards to advocacy and also letting education on insurance. We live in a country where we know that definitely there will be a road crash, whether we have dualization, whether we have enforcement, however it is, there will be crashes some way, somehow. But the victims, the passengers, the indigenes of this country, what are we doing for them to have some kind of life after crash? That is where we need to give, because now whatever we are doing, it won't help the victim. When anybody, an individual, you've not experienced it before, but the moment you get into it, you are on your own. Chasing, you know, insurance is an issue. You are on your own completely. You are on your own completely.
Tell us about it. How difficult is it?
Very difficult. Extremely difficult. Yes, we have insurance here, but before you get it as a victim, you have to prove yourself, where you have to go for first medical report, second medical report. Both of them you pay. And the police must give you a form to fill it. When after filling it, you send it to the hospital for doctors to assess you, to assess the degree of injury, the impact of the accident on you. You take it back, the police will, the insurance people will assess it, and they will ask you again to go for a final report where you have to pay, sometimes you have to pay even 1,000 Ghana cedi, 800 Ghana, some huge amount. Depending on the insurance, they will think that you are going to get. They share it with you, they get their quota. And that's where my problem is. People are crying. People are crying to the extent that some have become, orphans. Some have become dropouts. Some have become hawkers. As we talk right now, we have widows and widowers from the night march crash that people got bent. Some of them came to me for employment. And it's so sad that we have a country as if we don't care. And we are talking about dualization. It's good. It's part of the problem. But what are we doing with regards to the human beings that get involved? What policy is there? I was coming from National Insurance Commission for a program we are about to organize to commemorate the 22nd March, which took over 100 people. I sat here and I spoke about it. It was catastrophic. It was barbaric. In fact, it could be avoided. Yet, we crashed 2 separate accidents that took over 100 people. Nobody remembers it. We buried people just like that in a bag. I buried them on the 25th. And so you ask yourself, these human beings, they didn't call to die. They didn't pay to go and die. What are we doing that these occurrences will be mitigated in the future? And what did the road safety committee know? You said you went to your guess is as good as mine. You are a Ghanaian. Your guess is as good as mine before anybody victimized me. But we haven't forgotten, though. You know that we have an Arrive Alive campaign and we talk about the Arrive Alive campaign, the impact. I don't think the people are listening. Look at this accident. They are all millionaires. It is preposterous. This is ridiculous. So are we happy? Even one soul to die. Look at how it is. That's and we sit in a country and we hear 15 people, 16 people, 17 people, and we are so happy. You think, what do you think could be the reason that we are so used to the numbers? It has become part of us now. Has it? Look at the number. It means if you have to divide it in a day, we are in 2 months, 60 days. We have 9 a day, we should say. Thank you very much. How? Why? Is it some kind of genocide? I don't get it. You understand? And these are deaths, we can avoid them. It can be done. As such, you heard me saying it's long overdue with enforcement. The police rather believes in victimization rather than enforcing the law. How do you mean? I meant that, like I'm sitting here talking about the police. Let me go and then probably pass through traffic. Do anything at all for them to even mark me. You are going to be victim with the TV soon. I can't be open on the wire. And I could. But for them to see serious incident like the May 9th, the 9th March incident, my sister, what some of the victims told me was that when they are going to the north, they carry motor, and the motor is full with fuel. So when it crashed, the fuel dropped on the heated engine, and then it sparked into fire. That caused. What are we doing to check this? That people don't park motor, they don't take motors from here full with fuel. That if there should be any crash, it's going to burst into fire. People, I'm hearing over there, when the Bupe accident happened, I went there. Wherever accident happened, I'm there. Tomorrow I'll be in Winnipeg because I heard another one has happened. I've been called already. So when you go there, what do you do? We see to what we can do for the victims. Okay. How they can access insurance. How they can have their life back. You know, life is very, very important. They are human beings. Thanks be to God, they didn't die. They have survived. But what do we do for them to have the essence of life again? For them to forget about the trauma, the ordeal they've been through. Some of them do, as I talk to you now, continuously cursed drivers who hit them and run away, who do not even come to soft support or visit them. We visit every accident spot, continue to visit. You know, so that they will know that at least in Ghana, we care. And when you are in a country where people are always complaining of pain, misery, afflictions, you know, difficulty, it makes even God to forget about us. So beyond the monetary support, for instance, and then also the insurance packages that they chase or you help them chase, do they get psychological support? Exactly. What is the mental state of victim support, people like that? Accident victim, yes. You see, when it happens like that, their state of mind change. Some of them do not even want to join any car. And some of them, if they join it with the slightest break, or anything that comes to near crash, yes, it comes back. So what we do is that we take them to, I'm a pastor, so we take them to biblical and psychological counseling. And then we also see how we can reintegrate them back to society, that they can have their livelihood back. So, like I'm saying, we are looking for a job for some that they will forget about how their mother got bent, and they don't see the mother again. We are looking at how we can get some of them recovery aids, as in crutches, wheelchair, Zima frames, because these are things that they have never even planned for it.
Yeah.
And so every now and then you will see me on Facebook, Instagram, requesting or soliciting for these things, for these.
Okay. So in all, let's say, how many accident victims have we been able to support?
Over 160 victims. Because of the COVID, we couldn't bring all of them. But last year, Arrive Alive with the National Road Safety Authority and yourself, the Pulse, did very well to give us a little bit of campaign. We are trying to approach the presidency or the government to at least accept this as a policy. Sit with us. See how best, because this is the 10th year we started this, that we give physically to accident victims. We've given to Efia Kwanta, we've given to Kofanochi, we've given to Kolebu, Kolebu, and then also Cape Coast Interbeting, Kaswa, we've given to, I can't mention all of them.
Okay, but what would you say to people like, I've heard you say that you're hoping that government takes this on as well, so that at least there'll be some support for accident victims. On the other hand, there are those who would say that once there's some form of huge support and there's, profiteering in that sector, then it's encouraging accidents on our roads.
Never at all. Actually, if it is for profiting, reasons, ICERA will not be there. Look at me sitting down here. If I should remove you'll see my face. I was hospitalized and the doctor told me, look, forget about this. It's too much a burden for you. But it is God who has given me. That is why I always solicit from the churches, my fellow senior, middle, and junior pastors, that listen, we are the interveners. We stand in the gap for the people. I wouldn't be happy to, when I went to bury 25 people, my first experience as a pastor, burying 25 people, not burying them in a coffin or even in a proper, properly dug tomb, but just normal tomb with some, it's so pathetic.
Yeah.
So pathetic. There is no dignity for the lives of those who got bent. And I felt so bad. There are tombs like I did for my mom. It's not like this. There is nothing there to give remembrance. When those girls came to me, they said, Reverend, we want to go and see where our mother was buried. So I called their father. The father said no, because it was not befitting. So that is what I'm saying. It is not profiting. And anybody who wants to use the deaths of these people, the afflictions of these people to make money, God will judge you at the end of the day.
So then I'm sure there are people watching now that would want to be of help to the Accident Victim Support Ghana. How are they able to do so?
We have a website, avsghana.org, and we also have a number 0246. That's my personal number, but our helpline, support line, 0246869214 is my personal number. We can sit and talk about the recovery aids and the support you want to give for them. And then also 0241 1234 30.
Okay.
Yes, 30. That's our support line that anybody who wants to support. We have the One Ghana, One Victim campaign that we'll be doing. We are launching a One Man, One Victim campaign. And also on the 31st, we are having the National All Drivers Prayer Summit, which we are praying seriously against this and also educate.
You think it's also spiritual?
There is some kind of superstition because
surprisingly, no, I don't believe in superstition. I'm asking whether it's spiritual as well.
There is an iota. There is some kind of, minute, spirituality in there. Because yesterday or 3 days today, a friend called me about such an accident. 3 crashes on a major road like that. I was sharing with one of National Road Safety Authority staff, where on Sunday, Reverend Ismail Awudu, I want to salute you. He's receiving us to pray against, these things. And I will employ everyone, Ghanaians, that it has become our issue.
Prayer can resolve it?
No, not prayer. But I'm saying that.
Can it? To an extent?
Not prayer. Not prayer alone. But in the churches, if we can take even 1 minute to educate, to advise that as you are going, we pray that you will not fall victim of an accident, but make sure you follow these processes. Indeed, if I don't put on this, you may think I have COVID in it. So the same way we are saying that when you are going, put on your seatbelt, respect the traffic light, you know, at least slow down, drive carefully, don't overspeed, don't overtake wrongfully. Then pastors are helping the issue. With prayer now, it can work. That is what we are saying.
I'm enjoying the conversation with you, but unfortunately, I'm out of time on that. Reverend Cyril Crumb, I'm very grateful for your time. He's with the Accident Victims Support Ghana. And if you want to help, the foundation is 024-6869-214 or 024-11-23430. You can also visit their website to offer help to victims of accidents. They need that support. This is the Pulse here on the Joy News channel. Let's talk about Ghana Month, and I'll take you to the Eastern region. We're talking about the hub of beads production and a host of the biggest beads markets in Africa and the world. Invariably, the Krobos are noted for the commercial production of glass beads, which is the contemporary taste of beads and fashion for many in Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world. They produce all manner of designs under the sun, a very unique identity that distinguished Ghana among other beads producing countries. We've heard men talk about what beads mean to them, but history has said that even though the European trade beads among other treasuries for enslaved, Ghana have long before the invasion of Portuguese and cultural identity with beads. Maxwell Kudeko unearths the anthropology of glass beads in Ghana.
Even though the European traded beads among other treasuries for enslaved, Ghana have long before the invasion of Portuguese had cultural identity with beads. The Krobos, who existed in present-day Ghana and were domiciled in present-day Akuse before the beginning of slave trade in the 1480s, were already masters of glass beads production. The Krobos perfected the glass beads production from the Phoenicians and became part of their culture. Mr. Joshua Nate Nyumwa is director of Krobodan Beads Limited.
In the Krobo life, from the time somebody is giving birth to till the person dies. So we have beads that are worn for children. There is one called La. When a child is going to be given a name, that La is put there as a symbol, and it consists of 3 beads. We have Koli, we have Tobi, and Nyoli. Koli in the Krobo language means greatness. So that bead that is put on the wrist of the child signifies greatness. When you are growing, you must aspire for greatness. Then we have the Tobi, which is black. It tells you that there is wickedness in this world, and as you are growing, you must be very careful. Then we have the white one, Nyoli, which tells you that you must always tell the truth.
Several types of fanciful beads are available, ranging from brass, antique chevron, clay, and glass beads. But the glass beads appear to dominate. Ibrahim Mohammed is secretary to the Koforidua Beads Sellers Association. He shares his knowledge on the origin of beads in Ghana.
Because people who are like, let's say, hunters will use it to decorate themselves. When you kill an animal, they use the teeth. They use part of it to create something that they wear to show how strong or powerful they were to be able to kill, for example, a lion. And there was history of human beings' teeth used as beads. So it's for decoration, and human beings use everything to decorate. So that's why we still have beads from the seed which are beads also here. And the beauty, the way it is strung now, it is such that it attracts everyone. So that is how come the young guys of today, male and female, are all wearing them, because they have moved away from the way it used to be like a fetish thing to something fashionable.
Producers move round in search for all manner of used glass bottles and louver blades as primary raw material. It is compacted and ground to powder, mixed with preferred color, and dished into a well-designed molded clay plate and then baked. Here is your quality Ghana glass beads. What has changed with the narrative, making beads generational fashion in contemporary times? A bead seller, popularly known as Bobo, shared his thoughts.
But thanks to innovations and then what mostly happened in Nigerian films, it has given people that idea. And I tell you, that is where the revolution started. Because we had it and then they were coming, pick it and then make it theirs. And today you can see it has taken everywhere like a storm.
Mr. Peter Manfo is director at the Center for National Culture in the Eastern Region. He told Joy News the Koforidua Beads Market is the one and only biggest beads market in the whole of Africa and by extension the world.
And the beads, it's a unique identity. The beads market is a unique identity for the region, in the Eastern region.
This Australia has been in the bead business over 20 years. She travels to Ghana often to buy local bead and redesign it for sale in Australia.
We all are looking for something to hold on the history, you know, because now the life is very fast going, and you know, all this plastic jewelry and so on. There's no history behind, and we are all looking for the good old time maybe.
On Ghana Man, Masoko report for JoyNews.
Now you know how they are made, so once you wear them, you adorn it well. Now let me take you to Rwanda. I bet you've been wondering where she is, the Queen of Pulse. About 100 million lives in 100 days. That's the extent of havoc wreaked on Rwanda in 1994. Till today, the country continues to exhume bodies from mass graves to, as it calls it, rebury them in dignity in over 230 genocide memorials built across the country. As Rwanda leaves its past behind to forge a way forward, the country wants to make its presence felt here in Ghana and has taken some Ghanaian officials on a tour of Rwanda. Dion Nagiriwubuntu is Visitors Relations Officer at the Rwanda Genocide Memorial and has been providing some details to the Ghanaian delegation on the essence of the Genocide Memorial. Host of Pulse, and this is where she has been. Gifty, how are you doing? Okay, so before I go to Gifty, I'll show you this shortly.
Welcome you to Kigali Genocide Memorial. This is one of the genocide memorials that we have around the country. Actually, we are counting more than 230 memorials as the genocide touched each and every corner of Rwanda. That's why to the level of the district, we have those small memorials. The genocide took lives of more than 1 million in a period of 100 days, from April to July 1994. This memorial is here since 1999. Its official opening was in 2004. When we were commemorating for the 10th anniversary, the genocide against Tutsi. It's a final resting place for more than 250,000 victims of genocide.
About 3,000 meters above sea level and shortly after heavy rains, I got the chance to meet Impuza Mahanga. That is his given name, meaning attraction to all nations. It is a huge black creature with streaks of silver-colored fur in between its upper back and buttocks, which are very identical to that of humans. Indeed, its entire makeup looks human, except it is averagely 6 times stronger than humans. This kind is classified as silverbacks. Gorillas extremely passionate, move in families of at least 10. Impuza Mahanga is head of the Susa gorilla family. He is out today with his baby, whose name is Ihoho, meaning beauty. Ihoho is seated, though in deep anxious thoughts, in the cold, just like a human. And when he yawns, he reveals an incredibly funny sight of an evenly spread black and white set of teeth. His father, Impuza Mahanga, busily scavenges through the bushes of his territory, munching on leaves at the same time. These two gorillas represent at least 880 mountain gorillas left in the world, and Rwanda is home of many of them, at least 176 of which have been accustomed to tourist presence, and others kept away for research, and painstaking efforts are made to keep them safe.
Beautiful Rwanda, and the Queen of Poles, Gifty Andwapia, joins us via Zoom. That's where she has been, in case you've been wondering where she is. So, Gifty, good afternoon. I know you're a few hours ahead of us, but I hope you're doing well, Gifty.
I hope you can hear me. It's evening here, by the way. We're 2 hours ahead, and it's really good to see you on the post. And once again, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can, Gifty. We've been missed.
Quickly touch. Right. Okay. I just want to quickly touch on the commemoration of the genocide. 27 years on, like you heard from the man who took us through the Genocide Memorial yesterday. They have about 230 of that across the country. And it's part of the process by the government to make sure that, you know, there is somehow closure for the families so much and not that forward. So what they do is that they exhume mass graves that they find, and they try to rebury the bodies in what they call dignity. And that's one of the things that they're doing they've done to rise from the ashes. The other thing is that there is a year.
We really wanted to go through this with Gifty because, of course, she's been missed all week, and we're hoping that we could have some time with her all the way in Rwanda. She's been touring all parts of the country, and we're hoping to lift that experience as well, but network challenges. But it's time for sports now on the pulse, as and when we're able to get back to it, we'll go back to Gifty. Let's do sports now.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the sports segment with me, Horeku Wampofo, where we start with the touching story of Anatu Sadat, who made history in Ghana women's football almost a couple of weeks ago when she became the first player to wear hijab in the league. Now, this historic feat was attained through efforts those efforts were initiated years ago by Maxwell Waladi and Nike.
Whatever wasn't a decision I just made overnight, but it is something I've always had in mind because I have always wanted to follow my Islamic culture and belief, but I never had something more comfortable and pleasing enough to wear on the field of play. Growing up, not being able to wear the hijab had been some kind of a barrier to me because it wasn't good. I wasn't feeling that good. There's this feeling in me that haunted me for a while because it is part of the Islamic society for a woman to cover up her hair, most essential part of the body. So I wouldn't say I'm perfect or I'm the purest among all, but I would say it is a good thing for a woman to do so. I hope and I wish to encourage my fellow Muslims to also follow their dreams.
Actually, it wasn't my aim to give it to Ghanaian Muslim footballers, but I had this experience in Nima. As you all know, I'm from Nima and I attended a school called Islamic Training Institute. I used to have this classmate who is very talented, in sports. Her name is Habiba Mukhtar. Whenever there's any sports activity in the school, Habiba will always complain about her not covering her hair, so it's so difficult for her to participate in those sports. So when I got the opportunity to sign for Nike, I thought of someone like Habiba Mukhtar in my community. What can I do to help this kind of people? Then this hijab initiative came in mind. So actually this started when I was in Islamic Training Institute taking off a girl like Habiba Mukhtar. Actually, I think I started achieving something since day one, because looking at the smile coming from the girls' faces, I think it's something that make me proud, and I feel like this is one of the goals I set to myself, to just see smiles on their faces. And right now too, as this is trending, one of a girl from my project named Anoto Sadat, who is now playing the Ghana Women's League, and now she's the first girl to wear the hijab in Ghana, which I'm proud and happy. this thing is encouraging me more and making me to believe that I can do more in Ghana and in Africa. So I just want to see more people in Ghana having the freedom to participate in whatever they love, especially Muslims, you know.
Well, Nati Sadat, she plays her football for Northern Ladies in the Women's Premier League and has become the center of interest in the northern part of Ghana. My colleague George Adu Jr. is currently with Sadat and would be providing us a series of features.
So you put it on, you got onto the pitch, what your team is saying?
Everybody was surprised and they were asking, am I going to use it to put in? I said, of course. They were just asking. Even the Muslims were asking because I don't know whether, because it hasn't been there, no one has been doing. So they were surprised.
No obstruction, no uneasiness, you know, the fact that you're in a hijabi and moving?
No, not at all. Nothing restrained me at all. Nothing. I'm just okay, I'm just free.
Did you have a good game?
Yeah, I did. And I would even say that was my best game throughout the first run. Yeah, I did enjoy it. So I don't know whether I had this.
Well, that's Nati Sadat, and George Adu Jr. is currently in the northern part of Ghana and will be bringing us more on our subsequent bulletins as well. And that's how we wrap up the sport here.
Beautiful story then. That's how we wrap up today's edition of The Pulse and also for the week as well. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. A number of stories that you need to read for yourself. Kabna Dufo Kofi Amwa being petitioned Parliament over revocation of their banking licenses. Many more there, plus entertainment and sports.